Time is the quiet architect of every life, yet most people never notice the moment it begins shaping their fate. The exact second your eyes open in the morning quietly sets the direction of your money, your focus, and your future. A day does not start at noon or at the office. It begins in that fragile instant between sleep and awareness, and in that instant, destiny quietly takes its first step. For millions, that moment feels heavy. The alarm rings. The body resists. The mind wakes already tired. Before the eyes even adjust to the light, a glowing screen appears inches from the face. Notifications, messages, news, demands. The brain surrenders before it even stands, and just like that, the day no longer belongs to you. Most mornings begin in quiet panic. Rushed movements, half-formed thoughts, coffee swallowed like medicine, the clock already winning. The average person wakes up reacting, chasing, defending themselves from the world before they even take their first full breath. It feels normal. But normal is exactly where most lives quietly fall apart. Now picture a different morning. No rush, no noise, no frantic scrolling. In another part of the world, behind closed doors and silent hallways, the most powerful people on the planet begin their day in a completely different state. Calm, controlled, deliberate. While others react, they prepare. While others chase, they decide. The difference is almost invisible. No loud announcement, no dramatic ritual. Just a silent hour where nothing chaotic is allowed to enter. A protected window where the mind sharpens before the world arrives. It looks simple from the outside. But inside that quiet hour, something powerful is quietly taking shape. Because somewhere before the clock strikes 6, a psychological threshold is crossed. A mental switch that transforms the morning from a burden into a weapon. The same sunrise that drains millions of people becomes fuel for a small group who understand how to use it. And that invisible shift changes everything that follows. This is the story of the billionaire routine and the silent morning that changes everything. The alarm rings in the cold dark, and the first instinct is always the same. Stay under the blanket. Delay the moment. The bed feels warmer than ambition, heavier than discipline. The hand reaches blindly toward the snooze button, chasing just 5 more minutes of comfort, even though somewhere deep inside, you know those minutes quietly steal something far more valuable. Then the phone appears. Not out of necessity, but out of habit. Within seconds, the brain is flooded with notifications, messages, news, opinions, and demands that were never yours to begin with. Before your feet even touch the ground, your attention already belongs to someone else's problems. This is the strange illusion of modern productivity. By 9 in the morning, many people feel exhausted, overwhelmed, and incredibly busy. Emails answered. Messages replied. Tasks shuffled around. The calendar looks full, yet nothing meaningful has actually moved forward. Motion replaces progress. There is a quiet frustration hidden inside that routine. A subtle awareness that something is wrong. You know you are capable of more. Bigger ideas, larger ambitions, real freedom. Yet every morning begins with the same loss of control, like watching your own potential slip through your fingers before the day even begins. Science explains why this moment matters so much. When the brain first wakes up, it enters a highly programmable state. The mind is soft, open, and impressionable. It can either be shaped intentionally or hijacked instantly by cheap dopamine, noise, and endless digital distraction. Many people wait for motivation to fix this. They believe one day they will simply wake up inspired, energized, and ready to dominate the day. But motivation is unreliable. It rises and falls like weather. Progress was never about waiting for the right feeling, it was always about building the right structure. And the harsh truth is simple. As long as a person wakes up by accident, their life will also unfold by accident. Chaotic mornings create chaotic days. Chaotic days quietly build chaotic years, until eventually life begins to feel like something that happened to you, instead of something you consciously created. Every chaotic morning carries a hidden cost. It feels small at first, just a few rushed minutes, a distracted start. But time compounds quietly. One unfocused morning becomes a lost day. Lost days become lost months. And before long, a year disappears while the life you imagined remains permanently postponed. Meanwhile, the world wastes no time applying pressure. Emails stack up overnight. Messages demand immediate replies. Clients, bosses, markets, and deadlines all begin pulling at your attention the moment the phone unlocks. The brain is instantly dragged into survival mode, reacting to problems before it even understands its own priorities. This is where the silent killer begins its work. Decision fatigue. Every rushed choice in the morning drains a small portion of your mental energy. What to answer first, what to ignore, what feels urgent. By afternoon, the exact cognitive fuel required for strategic thinking and wealth-creating decisions has already been burned away. Modern hustle culture only makes this worse. It glorifies exhaustion as if it were a badge of honor. Sleep becomes optional. Stillness becomes laziness. The louder the grind, the more successful it appears. But frantic activity is not power. It is often just a sophisticated form of chaos disguised as ambition. Now consider the strange contrast. Some of the most powerful individuals on the planet operate inside environments where every decision can move millions of dollars. The stakes are enormous, yet their internal state remains calm, measured, and controlled. Pressure surrounds them, but it never enters their mind. Because the real damage of chaotic mornings is not just lost productivity. It is the quiet erosion of self-trust. Every time you promise yourself a better start tomorrow and break that promise, something inside weakens. Leadership begins with leading your own mind, and broken promises slowly dismantle that authority. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Talent cannot fix this. Intelligence cannot fix this. Even relentless late-night hustle cannot fix it. If the beginning of your day is controlled by chaos, the rest of your life will eventually follow the same pattern. The collapse rarely arrives with noise. It begins on an ordinary morning. The alarm rings, but this time the body does not respond. You lie still, staring at the ceiling, feeling a strange heaviness pressing down on your chest. Not physical exhaustion, but something deeper. A quiet awareness that the way you have been living is no longer working. The mind begins whispering uncomfortable truths. The routines that once felt productive now look mechanical and empty. Endless tasks, endless notifications, endless movement without direction. For the first time, it becomes painfully clear that your daily system, the invisible structure guiding your life, is fundamentally broken. This realization hits the ego like a shockwave. For years you believed being busy meant being successful. Long days, constant activity, always moving. But now the illusion cracks. Busyness was never proof of control. It was often the exact opposite, a signal that life was quietly running you instead of the other way around. And suddenly the work feels different. Not meaningful, not energizing, but hollow. The mind feels foggy. The chest tight with quiet anxiety. Tasks that once felt urgent now feel strangely pointless when there is no clarity behind them. Hard work without direction slowly turns into emotional exhaustion. Then comes the silence. No music, no scrolling, no distraction strong enough to fill the gap. Just a quiet room and a mind forced to confront itself. In that stillness, something uncomfortable happens. You begin questioning everything, your habits, your mornings, the direction of your life. At that moment, the choice becomes unavoidable. Continue forward exactly as you have been, drifting deeper into a life controlled by urgency, noise, and exhaustion. Or stop completely. Tear down the broken system. Rebuild the foundation of your days from the ground up. Because strangely, this collapse is not the end. It is the fire that burns away the illusion. The humiliation of realizing your system failed becomes the first honest step toward building something stronger, something deliberate, something that can no longer be easily shaken. The turning point does not arrive with excitement. It arrives cold and quiet. One morning the decision becomes unavoidable. No more drifting. No more surrendering the first moments of the day to chaos. From that point forward, the dawn will no longer control you. You will control it. This is where the real philosophy of the billionaire routine begins. It was never about copying trendy habits from the internet. Not about cold showers, meditation apps, or productivity hacks. At its core, it is about drawing an invisible line around the first hour of your life and refusing to let the world cross it. The first rule becomes isolation. Intentional silence. The phone stays untouched. The noise of society remains outside the door. In that protected quiet, something rare begins to happen. For the first time in years, you can actually hear your own thoughts instead of reacting to everyone else's. Another shift follows quickly. Motivation is removed from the equation. Feelings no longer get a vote. Some mornings will feel heavy, others effortless, but the action remains identical. Discipline replaces emotion. Execution replaces hesitation. Preparation now begins the night before. Evening is no longer a slow collapse into distraction. It becomes a period of quiet preparation. Clothes ready. Alarms set with intention. The next morning treated like a battle that will be won before it even begins. Slowly, the entire mindset flips. Instead of waking up on defense, reacting to problems thrown by the world, you begin the day on offense. Strategy before noise. Clarity before chaos. You start dictating the rhythm of the day rather than chasing it. And finally, a personal contract is formed. A silent agreement with yourself that the first hour of every morning belongs only to one purpose: protecting your mind, aligning your vision, and strengthening the internal discipline required to build the life you actually want. The first phase begins in the most difficult moment of the entire routine, the first 10 seconds after waking. This is where most people lose. The body negotiates. The mind searches for excuses. But the rule is absolute. No hesitation. No thinking. The feet touch the floor immediately. Movement breaks the grip of the subconscious before weakness has time to speak. The second phase protects the mind through silence. For the first 20 minutes, the world does not exist. No phone. No notifications. No stimulation. Just stillness. This sensory quiet allows the brain to stabilize after sleep, creating a calm, detached awareness where thoughts are no longer scattered by external noise. Then comes vision calibration. In this state of clarity, the mind reconnects with long-term direction. Not small tasks or random obligations, but the larger mission. The goals that stretch years ahead. The ultra-successful anchor their emotions to this vision, training the brain to associate the early morning with purpose and expansion. The fourth phase introduces controlled adversity. The body must wake fully, and comfort will not accomplish that. Intense movement, deep breathing, cold water, any deliberate physical challenge that forces the nervous system into alertness. This friction clears the fog of sleep and strengthens mental resilience before the day begins. Next comes the deep work primer. With the mind clear and the body activated, attention turns toward the battlefield ahead. One question becomes central. What is the single task today that will move everything forward? Not the easiest task, not the loudest one. The one that actually changes the trajectory of progress. The sixth phase is execution. No delay, no endless preparation. The most difficult and intimidating task is attacked immediately while the world is still quiet. This is the preemptive strike. By the time others are scrolling through messages, the most important victory of the day is already underway. And from this moment, momentum begins to compound. Anxiety fades. Focus sharpens. Confidence builds. Surviving this morning crucible creates a powerful psychological shift. Instead of chasing the day, you carry a quiet momentum that continues pushing forward long after the sun has fully risen. In the end, the lesson of the morning routine is far deeper than waking up early. It is not about productivity tricks or copying the habits of famous billionaires. It is about self-mastery. The quiet discipline of proving to yourself every single day that your mind belongs to you before it belongs to the world. There is a powerful law hidden inside this practice. The way you handle the first hour of your day becomes the pattern for everything that follows. The same focus used at dawn appears in negotiations, decisions, and crises. If your mornings are chaotic, your life will mirror that chaos. But when the morning is controlled, something remarkable happens. You walk into the noise of the day differently. Emails arrive, problems appear, pressure builds. Yet inside, there is calm. The discipline built in silence becomes armor that the outside world cannot easily break. This is why true wealth is misunderstood. It is not defined by numbers inside a bank account. The real difference between ordinary people and the most powerful individuals is how fiercely they protect their attention, their energy, and the very first thoughts that enter their mind each morning. And the most encouraging truth is this: it does not matter how many mornings in the past were wasted. Yesterday no longer exists. The next sunrise arrives untouched, perfectly clean, offering another chance to rebuild the foundation of your life one disciplined hour at a time. So tonight, when you look at your alarm clock, see it differently. Not as a punishment or an obligation. See it as an invitation, a quiet opportunity for rebirth. And ask yourself one simple question before you fall asleep. What will be the very first thought in your mind tomorrow morning? Stop living by default. Start designing your destiny with intention. If this message resonates with you, subscribe to Success Stories and make it a public commitment to your own mental evolution. And when the alarm rings tomorrow, remember that the silence of the morning is waiting.